Right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. My name is Annie, and I will be leading you through your 60-minute Friday Unwind Gentle Yoga Flow. And this class is offered through Hands to Heart Center. And Hands to Heart Center Yoga for the People is a nonprofit organization that shares the healing practice of yoga with people affected by addiction, poverty, and trauma in Greater Boston. Hands to Heart Center would like to thank the Boston Public Library for partnering with us on this virtual project. All right, so for class this afternoon, it may be helpful to have a blanket or a towel. So just something to offer a little bit of extra cushion and some extra support. It can just be any old blanket or beach towel or whatever you have around your house. And we will go ahead and get started in Sukhasana, or an easy seated position. And I find that it's nice to sit up on top of your blanket or towel. So here I have my blanket folded so that it's a little bit thicker. And you can kind of play with how much support you would like. And then take a seat on top of your blanket or towel, just so that it provides a little bit of extra lift up in the hips. So if you have tight hip flexors, which a lot of us do, it might be nice to have a little bit of extra cushion. So you can kind of play around with the height of your blanket, maybe folding it a few extra times. And then when you come to find your seat, you can have your legs crossed like this. You can have your legs out long in front of you. You can even sit up on a chair or the couch or anything else that's comfortable for you. And we'll just take a moment to settle in here and to ground into this afternoon's practice. So you can allow your hands to just fall on top of your legs, maybe palms facing down or palms facing up. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Sit up nice and tall. And you can close your eyes if you like, or you can find a soft gaze out in front of you. And take a deep inhale through your nose, fill all the way up. And a big open mouth exhale, release. Big sigh out. Inhale through your nose, feel your lungs expand. And open mouth exhale, release and soften down. Take another deep breath in here. And open mouth exhale, let it go. Now take the first two fingers of either one of your hands, bring them to your forehead, right in between your eyebrows, and just start to give yourself a little bit of a head massage. So turning your fingers clockwise for just a few rotations. And continue to sit up tall. Relax the muscles in your hips, soften your shoulders down. And then start to turn your fingers the other way, going in a circle in the other direction. And again, if you'd like, you can close your eyes or keep your gaze soft in front of you. I know that a lot of us may be working from home, maybe spending a lot more time on the computer, on Zoom. So this might feel nice to just kind of release the muscles in the head that build up some tension after a long day, a long week of work. And then take your other hand too, and then just start to bring your index fingertips down to your temples. Give yourself a little bit of a temple massage here. Again, just starting to release some tension, to let go. And then as you're done, bring your hands back to the tops of your legs. And notice if you started to experience some rounding in the spine, can you just sit up a little bit taller? Keep your shoulders nice and soft. And then release your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Feel a stretch in the left side of the neck. And as you bring your right shoulder or your right ear down, keep your right shoulder where it is. So there's no tension in the right side, you're just lengthening through the left side of the neck. And allow both of your shoulders to fall down, keeping the spine long. Breathe in. Stay for your breath out. Come back up through the center. And just pause for a second here. Notice if there are any differences between the right side of the neck and the left side of the neck. And then slowly with care, release your left ear down towards your left shoulder. And then allowing the stretch to come in on the right side. The right shoulder is soft, the left ear is down and away, or the left shoulder is down and away from the left ear. And there's a nice openness in the right side of the neck. Breathe in and breathe out. And then slowly come back through center once again. And then release your right ear to your right shoulder. Drop the chin through center. Bring your left ear to your left shoulder. And then again, drop your chin through the center. Slowly rotate through right ear, right shoulder. And coming back through center, chin to chest. Left ear, left shoulder. Now take a few more of these rotations, all at your own breath, at your own pace. If there's a spot where you need to linger for an extra moment or two, get into a deeper stretch, you can of course stay right there. And then one more time through, even out both sides. And bring your chin back through center. And roll your shoulders down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now loop your shoulders forward, up and then back. Starting to roll out through the shoulders here, forward, up and back. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. And then rotating the other way. Forward and down. Forward and down. And one more time through, bringing some life back into the shoulders here. Return to center. Now place your left fingertips down on the floor beside you. And if there's some space between your fingertips and the floor, they can't quite touch, that's totally fine. You can also place your fingertips on a book or on a block or anything else that you have if you would like that length. So fingertips down, and then inhale to reach the right arm up, stretching through the right side body, left elbow bends. And just stay and breathe right here. So in your side body stretch, your right hip might be tempted to lift up and away from the blanket. And can you try to stay rooted through both sides of the hips here? Open up and expand through the right rib cage. Keep your left fingertips, your left palm nice and soft. Shoulders relaxed. And breathe in, stretch a little bit farther. Stay for your breath out. Then your inhale takes you back through center. And pause here for just a moment. Again, noticing the differences, if there are any, between the right rib cage and the left. Now touch your right fingertips to the floor beside you. And inhale to sweep your left arm up and over. And we'll stay here for a few breaths, again, stretching through the left side waist. And your shoulders are soft and down away from your ears. You might have a bend in your right elbow. And you can decide if it's more comfortable on your neck to look up or to look down. And keep as much space between your shoulders and your ears as you can. And breathe in. Stay for the exhale. Your next inhale takes you back through center. Maybe pause for a quick shoulder roll here. And touch your right hand to the top of your left knee. Sweep your left arm behind you for a twist. And as you inhale, reach the crown of your head up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, lean into this twist, rotate over towards your left knee. And maybe your gaze comes all the way back behind you over your left shoulder. Inhale to find length, sit up tall. And exhale to rotate, look over towards the left. And again, work to keep both of your hips or your sits bones evenly on the mat so that the twist is coming from the spine. And then on your next breath, come back through center, rotate through. And we'll take it to the other side. Bring your left hand to the top of your right knee. Sweep your right hand behind you. And inhale to grow tall. Exhale, look over your right shoulder. And again, keep your shoulders soft here. Keep your spine long. And the twist can be gentle. If you can't look over your back shoulder today, that's okay. Just do the best that you can. And inhale, the crown of the head lifts to the ceiling. Exhale, turn your gaze over your back shoulder. And then slowly unwind, come back through center. Bring your arms out in front of you. And then wrap your right arm underneath your left. Cross your elbows into an X shape. And then bring your hands up, cross at your forearms so that your palms touch, coming into eagle arms. So a bit of a pretzel-y pose here. And if for any reason this isn't working for you today, you can just give yourself a hug. Find this bear hug motion right in front of you. And then pull your forearms forward towards the computer screen. And the purpose of this stretch in today's practice is to stretch through the upper back and the shoulders. And you'll get that same stretch if your arms are like this. So again, if this upper bind isn't happening today, that's totally fine. And reconnect with the muscles in your back. Pull your belly button to your spine. Sit up tall. Breathe in. Breathe out. Shoulders are soft. Breathe in. Breathe out and soften. And then slowly start to unwind. Maybe bring your arms back behind you. Interlace your hands. Finding a bit of a counter stretch here. And then we'll take the same thing on the other side. So again, bring your arms out in front and we'll cross the opposite elbow this time. So left arm underneath the right into an X shape or whatever you didn't do on the first side. And then lift your elbows up in line with your shoulders, cross at the forearms so that your palms can touch. An option again here for this bear hug motion on this side. Even if you didn't take it on the first, you might notice that one side of your shoulders feels tighter or more tense than the other, so it's okay to take a different variation. And wherever you are, find this pulling action in your forearms. Not enough to be painful, but just enough to build a little extra tension so that you can feel this stretch in your upper back and your shoulders. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now unwind your arms again. Take your time. And roll your shoulders down. Take another little neck roll. Just kind of loosening up the upper body, bringing in some more intuitive movement. And now from here, we'll come into tabletop pose on your hands and knees. And again, you can keep the blanket with you. I find it really nice to have just some extra cushion underneath the knees. So you might unroll your blanket 1 or 2 times. Come into tabletop. Your hips are right over your knees. Your shoulders are right over your wrists. And inhale, find cow pose. Drop your belly down. Lift your gaze up to the ceiling. And stay right here and breathe. Lift your tailbone up high. Broaden through your chest and shoulders and press your palms down into the mat to open up the space in your neck. Breathe in. And exhale for cat pose. Round and curl the spine. Push the floor away from you. Separate your shoulders at the top as if your shoulders, your upper back were a balloon. Now inhale for cow pose. Belly drops, heart lifts. Exhale for cat pose. Spine rounds. Inhale, cow pose, tailbone high. Exhale, cat, arch your back, press the mat away. Inhale, cow pose, lift up. Last time for now. Exhale for cat pose, round and curl. Now come back to your steady tabletop. Root the left hand down into the floor. Inhale, sweep your right arm up to the ceiling. Maybe roll out your wrist a few times one way and then the other. Lift your gaze, breathe in. And on your exhale, thread the needle. So sweep your right hand underneath your left and bring your right shoulder and cheek to the floor. And then you can keep your left palm where it is, or you can stretch it forward to the top of the mat. And your hips stay right in line over your knees. And just allow your shoulder, your right temple to relax, to soften into the floor. And tug your right fingertips towards whatever is behind you on the right side. So for me, it's this gray wall. And then reach your left hand a little farther towards the top of your mat. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now slowly return, touch your left palm right underneath your left shoulder again. Inhale, your right arm sweeps back up to the ceiling. And exhale, touch your right palm to the floor. Same thing on the other side. Inhale to sweep your left arm high and maybe roll out the wrist a few times one way, then the other. Breathe in. And exhale, thread the needle. Guide your left hand underneath your right. Soften your left shoulder and cheek down, and then your right arm can come forward if you like. So if your arm is forward, you'll have this nice long stretch from the tip of your right hip bone all the way through your rib cage, your triceps, your forearms, down to the palm of your hand and your fingers. Breathe in. And breathe out. Return your right palm underneath your right shoulder. Press down. Lift up, left arm sweeps high, inhale, and exhale back to tabletop pose. Now from your tabletop, you might walk your hands about one palm length forward. Bring your toes together, your knees out, and sink back into extended child's pose. Softening the forehead down to the floor. And know that at any point you can always come back to child's pose or to an easy seat right where we started at the beginning of class. And just allow your hips to drop back here to soften. Maybe rock your forehead from side to side into the mat. Again, giving yourself a bit of a head massage. And then inhale, press back up. And then you can keep your hands a little farther forward. Straighten your legs back, slither down onto your belly, and find Sphinx pose. And for Sphinx, your forearms are down onto the mat into the number 11, and your legs are long back behind you. And if it's comfortable to still have the blanket underneath your hip tips, you can keep it there, or you can slide it away. So that's something that'll kind of vary from person to person. And in your Sphinx, just relax your forearms down. Keep your shoulder right in line with your elbow. So you've got a 90-degree bend here, and then your arms are long. So kind of like if you were sitting at the beach reading a magazine. And then find the slightest, most effortless tug back in your palms. And then press your hip tips down so that you find this little stretch in your low back. And in your Sphinx, you might find a few head rolls here again, or you might keep your neck right at center. Breathe in. Stay for your breath out. One more inhale. And exhale. Now release your forehead down onto the mat. Make a little pillow with your hands. You can have your forehead or your cheek down. And then lift your knees up and just start to windshield wipe your legs from side to side, rocking back and forth. So here you might find a bit of a release in your quads or in your low back. And then allow your legs to fall back down. And then come back up through center. Bring your fingertips to the sides of you, right in line with your shoulders. And again, extend your feet back. Inhale to lift your chest up. So a bit of a deeper back bend than we had in our Sphinx. Your fingertips are light. Breathe in. And then on your exhale, dip your right shoulder to the center of your mat so that you can gaze under your left elbow. And then touch your right ear, your right temple down. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale, touch your left shoulder down, gaze under your right elbow. And keep the tops of your hips rooted to the floor. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, touch your right shoulder down, gaze under the left. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale, touch your left shoulder down, gaze under the right elbow. Inhale, back up through center. And then exhale, release your forehead down to the floor. And bring your palms right by your ribs, light on your fingertips. And then stretch your toes back a little bit farther, finding a bit more length in the quads. And inhale, come up for baby cobra. So your hands are right underneath your elbows, right by your ribs. Gaze down at your nose. And let your palms feel weightless. There might even be a centimeter of space in between your hands and the mat. Breathe in. And exhale, release, touch your forehead down. And we'll do that 2 more times to just warm up the low back a little bit more. Inhale for baby cobra, lift up. Exhale, release, lower down. Inhale, baby cobra, lift. And exhale to lower. One more time through, inhale, lift up. And we'll hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Release down, forehead to the mat. And then press back up through tabletop. Root the palms down. Reposition the knees underneath the hips, coming back to your little tabletop setting. And then extend your right leg back behind you so that you're on your right toes. And just start to rock back and forth here onto the ball mound of the right foot. So starting to get into the calf, the hamstrings, stretching out the low body. And then come back through center. Place your right knee back to the floor. And extending the left leg out, rocking back and forth on this side. Just forward and back onto the ball mound of the left foot. And then come back through center in tabletop. You have the option to stay in table or to child's pose, or tuck your toes under. Walk your hands about 1 handprint forward. And then push the tops of, or the ball mounds of your feet into the mat. And connect to your core and then lift up and back to downward facing dog. And as you arrive in your first down dog of today's practice, you might pedal out your feet a little bit. Again, bringing some length back into your hamstrings, your calves. And know that in down dog, your heels never have to touch the ground. You can always have your knees bent. You can always have some space between the bottoms or between your heels and the floor. And then inhale to lift your heels up. Exhale, drop your heels over to the right. Stretch through the outer edge of your right leg. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale, drop your heels over to the left. And inhale back through center. And stay for your exhale. Again, maybe just pedaling out, loosening up here. Inhale to sweep your right leg high. And then on your exhale, your knee bends, your hip opens. And you might find some rotations here in your right leg. An option to take this from tabletop. So you could stay with your left knee down and just find the hip rotations in the right leg right here. All right, so you decide what's working best for you and your body this afternoon. Maybe try on both options. And then come back to your downward facing dog. Same thing on the other side. Breathe in to lift your left leg. And then breathe out to find some rotations in your left hip. So just take some time here to kind of loosen up through the joints, releasing some tension that builds up. If you're sitting in one spot or standing in one spot or walking around a lot. And then breathe in, and on your exhale, come back, downward facing dog. Inhale to look forward to the top of your mat. And on your exhale, tiptoe up to bring your feet behind your hands. And then when you get to the top of your mat, find a generous bend in your knees, coming into ragdoll. And your knees can be bent here as much as you need to so that your chest connects with the tops of your quads. And you can just rock back and forth from side to side. And in your ragdoll, you might have your hands on the floor. You might interlace your elbows, reach for opposite elbow here. Maybe interlace your hands at your low back and pull your palms forward, finding a chest expansion grip. Or maybe hands behind your neck. So again, feel free, try on all the different options. Take what works best for you. And then release your hands down. And very slowly as you can, come all the way up to stand. There's no rush at all. Take your time. And let your head come up last. And then as you stand here, roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Inhale to reach your arms up high to the ceiling. And then on your exhale, pull your right hand down, lift your left arm up and over. And again, just like at the beginning when we were sitting down, your right shoulder softens away from your ear. And lift and expand through the left side waist, reaching all the way from your left ankle, through your calf, your quad, your hip, your rib cage, your triceps. Breathe in. Stay for your breath out. And slowly inhale back up through center. Exhale to the other side. Pull your left arm down. Stretch your right arm up and over. And root down evenly through both of your feet. And your hips are still square towards the front of the mat. And just open up and expand. So as if your right rib cage were an accordion, you could widen through that right side waist and stretch your right hand up and over. And inhale, come back up to center, both arms high. Exhale, find a small back bend. Cactus your elbows, lift your chest up to the ceiling. You can unlock your knees. There can be space in between your feet. And think Sphinx pose in your lower back. Find a slight engagement in your core as you lift your chest up to the ceiling. Inhale, stretch your arms up high. And exhale, fold forward and down, hinge at your hips. Inhale to lift up halfway. Rest your palms on the tops of your quads. Pull your shoulders back behind you. Point your elbows up to the ceiling. And stay here for a few breaths. So your knees can be bent. Feet can be hips width distance apart. Your palms are just resting on tops of your quads. Shoulders peel back behind you. Crown of the head lengthens forward. Breathe in. And on your exhale, bend your knees. Bring your fingertips back to the floor. Start to lift your heels up. And drop the crown of your head in between the tops of your knees. So coming into this little crouched ball pose. You might feel a stretch in the bottoms of your feet. Allow your head to completely relax. And this pose may feel good on your low back, kind of releasing some of these muscles right here. And then bring the soles of your feet back to the floor. Inhale, back up to your halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, fold forward, knees are soft. Inhale, rise all the way up. Extend your palms to the ceiling. Exhale, side body stretch. Pull the right hand down. Inhale, lift back up through center. Exhale, other side, pull the left arm down. Inhale takes you back up. Exhale, back bend, open the chest. Inhale to reach high. And exhale, you fold forward, bend your knees. Inhale to lift up halfway. And exhale, you crouch down and curl, bend your knees, come to the balls of your feet, release your forehead. Now come back to your halfway lift, lengthen. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale to rise all the way up. Exhale for a side body stretch. Inhale lifts you back up. And exhale, stretch to the other side. Keep your shoulders soft as we flow. Inhale to lift. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, crouch and curl, come into the small ball. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, heels drop. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, stand tall. Exhale, fold forward and down, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift halfway. And then on your exhale, bring your fingertips to the mat, keep your right foot forward. Step your left foot back behind you, coming into a low lunge. An option here to drop your back knee onto the floor, or you can go ahead and keep your left leg lifted. Keep your left fingertips down, or again, if you have a block or a book or something else underneath you, you can use that here under your left hand. And inhale for a simple twist. Sweep your right arm up to the ceiling. And peel your right shoulder back. Lift your gaze up towards your right thumb. And lengthen through the neck, again, coming back to those neck stretches at the beginning of class, keeping long through the upper body. Breathe in. And then exhale, bring your right hand back down to the floor. And if your left knee was lifted, bring it down to the mat. And inhale, come up, Anjaneyasana, kneeling crescent lunge. Keep your left knee down on the floor, right knee is over your right ankle. Breathe in. And exhale, come into half splits. Tent your fingertips up on the mat. Flex your right toes. Lengthen through the right hamstring. And inhale, come through your kneeling crescent lunge, sweep forward. Exhale through your half splits, tuck your fingertips, peel your hips back, flex your right toes. Inhale, come forward into your kneeling crescent lunge, you rise. And exhale into your half splits, tent your fingertips, peel your hips back. And inhale, sweep forward again into your kneeling crescent lunge. And this time we'll stay here for a few breaths. So your back toes can be tucked or they can be untucked. Again, whatever feels best in your body. And lengthen through the front of the left quad, through the left hip flexor. Again, the blanket might be really helpful underneath your back knee. Soften your shoulders down, breathe in. And on your breath out, find a simple twist. Peel your chest open, sweep your right arm back behind you, keep your left arm forward. Now line your shoulders right over your hips, and then squeeze them back behind you to help facilitate a bit of a deeper twist. And bring your gaze to the back over your right hand. Inhale, sweep back through center for your kneeling crescent lunge. And exhale, come back to your half splits. Tent your fingertips on the mat. Peel your right hip back. Flex your right toes to your face. And if you need to fold the blanket an extra time underneath you for some more cushion under your left knee, that's a great option. And your right knee is soft here. Unlock your right knee. Flex through the right foot. And try to keep your hips even if you can, square towards the front of the mat. And just notice the opening, the expanding through the right hamstring. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Now rebend into your front knee. Crawl forward and bring both hands to the inside edge of your right foot. Scoot your right foot towards the top of your mat, coming into a lizard lunge. So both hands are inside of your right foot. Your right toes are rotated slightly outward towards like 1 o'clock on the top of your mat. And your left leg is long behind you. And you can stay right here up on your palms. If you need some extra lift, you again could place yoga blocks or books underneath your hands. And if you like to go all the way down to your forearms, you can. I'm going to stay right here with my palms pressing into the mat. And again, shoulders are soft. Come back to your breath. Inhale here. Stay for your exhale. Take a deep breath in. And a long breath out. One more inhale. And exhale. Now again, palms are right underneath the shoulders. If your left knee is not underneath your left hip, just kind of scoot it in a little bit to find this realignment. A bit of a tricky transition here. We're sweeping into a modified side plank. So pull your right leg back and then press your left foot back behind you. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling. So the left knee is still down on top of your blanket cushion. And press the outer edge of your right foot into the mat behind you. So coming back to this action of stretching all the way from the edge of your right ankle through your entire side body, your side waist, up through your right hand. So just like that side body stretch we did seated and standing, now we're doing it on the side. And find a little freedom here in your right arm, maybe sweeping forward, up, and around like you're strumming an invisible air guitar. Opening up further through the side waist. Inhale. And exhale. And you can choose here, the outer edge of your right foot can stay on the floor if you would like. Connect to your core, flex your right foot, lift your right leg up. And if you're here in this position, keep your right hip over your left hip over your knee, and your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists are all in one long line. And you can choose to stay here if you would like. Bend your right knee back behind you, reach your right hand back. And you'll feel a quad stretch here, most likely in your right leg, even if your foot and your hand are not touching. Maybe your foot and your hand do touch. Maybe you use a strap to help you out. Stay for a breath in wherever you are, and a breath out. And then release. If you have your foot, let it go. Reach your arm back up. Return your foot to the mat if it was lifted. And come back to tabletop pose. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And we'll take a quick cat-cow to reset. Inhale, cow pose, open. Exhale for cat pose, round and curl. Come back to your neutral tabletop. Tuck your toes under, and then press up and back for downward facing dog. And again, you can soften through the knees, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, look forward to the top of your mat. And on your exhale, tiptoe forward, step your feet behind your hands. Your feet can stay hips width distance apart. Inhale, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold forward and down, release. Now keep your left foot forward, step your right foot back. And again, the option to keep your right foot lifted or drop, or your right knee rather, right knee lifted or drop your right knee down onto the mat. Press your right fingertips or your right palm into the floor and inhale for a simple twist. Sweep your left arm up high. And in your simple twist, check in with your left knee. Make sure that your knee is right over your ankle. And really allow this twist to come from the upper third of your back. So turn your right rib cage, the part that's right underneath your shoulders, underneath you, so that you can look up towards your left thumb. Breathe in. Stay for the breath out. Inhale. And then exhale, release, bring your left hand back down to the mat. And if you kept your right knee lifted for the twist, bring it back down to the floor. We're coming into kneeling crescent on this side. So draw the inner edges of your legs together as you rise up for a kneeling crescent lunge. Left knee is over left ankle. Breathe in. And exhale into your half splits. Tent up onto your fingertips. Peel your hips back. Flex through the left toes. Inhale, sweep forward, kneeling crescent lunge. Exhale, peel back. Tent up onto your fingers. Inhale, sweeps you forward, kneeling crescent. Exhale, peel back, hips slide behind you. Inhale, kneeling crescent, come forward and hold here for a few breaths. And you can keep your arms lifted. You can always bring your palms to touch at your heart if you're working with any shoulder injuries or any pain in the upper body. You can always have your hands touching here. And no matter whether your hands are lifted or lowered, again, soften through the shoulders. And draw your tailbone down, lengthen through the right hip flexor. And then pull your left femur back into your left hip socket. Root your left heel down. Inhale. And exhale for your open twist. Peel your left arm back behind you, reach your right arm forward. And again, keep your shoulders centered right over your hips. Press the back of your left hand towards the wall behind you. And keep a solid foundation in your left heel to help you stay steady. Inhale, come back to your lunge, sweep forward, realign. Exhale, half splits, peel back, tent up onto your fingertips. And we'll hold here for a bit longer this time. Keep your left toes flexed up towards your face. Soft bend in the left knee. And you're light on your fingertips, maybe even using blocks or books or something underneath your hands. Breathe in. And see for your breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Now hinge forward, rebending into your left knee. Bring both palms to the inside edge of your left foot. Scoot your left foot out for your lizard lunge. Now in your lizard, you want your knee right over your ankle or even slightly behind it. This will help protect your knee joint. And again, you can stay up on your palms or use any type of assistance or props or lifts underneath them that you need, or you can come down to your forearms. And so this pose is a bit of a deeper stretch, and sometimes when we come into deep stretches, we kind of forget to breathe. So come back to your breath. Long inhales, steady exhales. And notice if there are any muscles here that don't need to be working that are. So maybe you notice some tightness in your jaw or your forehead. Can you let that go? Inhale. And exhale. Now come back up to center. And we're coming into the side plank variation on this side. So bring your left hip again right over your left knee. Kickstand your left heel behind you, or your right heel rather behind you, and then extend your left leg back so that the sole of your left foot is on the floor and your left hand reaches up to the ceiling. So your right knee is down, your left foot is down, right hand is on the floor. And then extend your left fingertips up to the ceiling, lift up and out of the right rib cage. And again, maybe you find your shoulder rotations here, your invisible air guitar streaming. And you decide on this side, you may keep your left foot on the mat. You may choose to lift it up, flex your foot, as if you could stamp your footprint on the wall behind you. You might stay here. Or you might reach back, grab the sole of your foot with your left hand. And know that at any point you can always return to having your foot on the floor. And you can shift your gaze to the spot that feels most comfortable on your neck. One more breath in. And exhale, release. Come back, return your foot to the floor. And then return your left palm down to the mat. Coming back to tabletop pose. Another quick cat-cow to reset. Inhale for cow pose. And exhale for cat pose, round and curl. Now come into a seated position here. And you can press the blanket off to the side. You won't need it quite yet. So sit down on the mat, extend your legs out slightly. So the soles of your feet are still on the floor, your palms are on the mat behind you. And bring the feet to the edges of your mat. And then start to windshield wiper your legs. So bring your knees down as far as you can to the right. Sweep them through center. And then bring them down as far as you can on the left. Sweep through center. Down to the right. through center and down to the left. So here we're kind of working into the outer hips and the glutes as well. Again, another great counter pose for a lot of sitting at a desk. Great for runners, walkers, cyclists. Just kind of loosening up the joints in the hips. And then even out both sides. And as you're ready, come back through center. And come into an even seated pose. And then extend your left leg long in front of you. Bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left leg. And then sit up nice and tall. Turn so that your torso faces your left leg. And inhale to reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward over your left leg. And you can keep, or you should keep, a bend in your left knee here. This will help kind of unlock that joint, protect your knee joint. And flex your toes and just hinge forward as far as you can. And still keep your right hip rooted down, so you might feel a slight stretch in this right side waist here. And just bring your palms down, allow your head, your neck, your shoulders to relax. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And exhale. Now walk your hands back in. Rise back up through center. We'll take that to the other side. So this time, right leg stretches out long, left leg bends in. Bring the sole of your left foot to the inner edge of the top of your right leg. And then sit up nice and tall onto your sits bones. Turn to face your right foot. An option here, you can have your blanket underneath your sitting bones here as well. And inhale, sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge forward. Bring your hands down wherever they fall. So your hands may be here behind your knee. They may be down by your calf, down by your foot. So it's not about touching your toes or getting into the stretch as deeply as you can. Just start to turn to face the right side. Keep the left hip rooted down, relax the muscles in the face. And just breathe into the right hamstring, the back line of the right leg. Inhale. And stay for your exhale. Now walk your hands back up through center. And bring the soles of your feet to touch, coming into Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. And here, if you would like to sit up on top of your blanket, you can. Again, that might be nice to bring some extra cushioning back behind you. So I'm going to sit up on my blanket here too. And you can just keep the soles of your feet touching, knees out wide. And if you like, you can give yourself a little massage onto the arches of your feet, maybe onto the edges of your ankles, or you can hold your hands steady. Just pausing for a moment of gratitude for all that our bodies do for us, all of the places that our feet, that our legs can take us. And then wrap your hands around your ankles if you can today. Breathe in, lift up. And breathe out, hinge forward. Bring your elbows to the inner edges of your knees. And again, don't worry about getting super deeply into the pose or being super flexible. That's not what matters here. What matters is that we're taking time out of our days to move a little bit, to slow down, to unwind. Inhale and exhale. Now rise back up through center and take your blanket. And if it was underneath your bum, remove it, bring it out, and then you might fold it again so that it's a little bit sturdier. And extend your legs out long in front of you, sit up nice and tall. Lift your knees away from the floor and then slide the blanket underneath your knees. And then bring your legs back out long again. So your legs are stretched in front of you, but you've got this blanket underneath your knees, this support here. So your blanket or your towel is lifting you up. Press the sitting bones down. Inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge into a forward fold. And again, in this fold, right, you don't have to touch your toes. You can keep your hands right next to your calves. And here you want to focus on lifting up and then over. And working to bring your chest to the tops of your legs. And again, just allowing the shoulders to relax, the muscles in the face to relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. Now slowly come back up through center. Walk your hands back. And then if you would like, you can keep this little cushion underneath the knees. I think that's a really nice touch here. And then slowly lower all the way down onto your back for your final Shavasana. And if you have the blanket or towel underneath your knees, this can just give a little bit of extra lift and may release some tension in your low back. So this can be a really nice option for any low back sensitivity. And your Shavasana can be lying down, or it can be any pose that feels like a resting pose for you this afternoon. And as you settle into your Shavasana, I invite you to ask yourself, how can I be just 5% more comfortable? So maybe that means you turn off a light, you take out a ponytail or take your glasses off, grab some pillows, whatever you need here. Just take these last few moments of class to soak in your practice, to give yourself the opportunity to rest. If you are able to stay in your Shavasana longer, I encourage you to just stay here for as long as your Friday afternoon allows. If you're ready to move on, just start to invite some gentle movements back into your fingers and your toes, rolling out through your wrists and your ankles. And then reach your arms back behind you, extend your legs forward, take a big, long body stretch. And then over the next few breaths, transition back into a seated position. So you may roll over onto one side, you may press straight up. Then right back where we started at the beginning of class, sitting up nice and tall. We'll take a breath all together. Inhale and exhale. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Thank you for taking this time to practice and to do something kind for yourself. Wishing you all the best. Hope you take good care. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.